everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Urban legends, missing heaven, hookmen coming for you, missing 15 minutes. AJ wrote it, Sammy reads it, Mothman's flying at you, missing 15 minutes.
Welcome to Mything 15 Minutes, the podcast where we talk about big, complicated topics and calmly separate facts from fiction, without yelling, panic buying canned food, or blaming everything on shadowy elites with weather machines. They totally have weather machines. No. I'm Sam Rossi, reading a script written by AJ Carey, who seems to be stretching the limits of what this show is really about.
It's about myths, and guess what? People thinking that climate change is a myth is, in fact, a myth. Okay, fine. Yes, I am stretching it.
Before we get into the actual topic, there's going to be a big disclaimer that we are not climate scientists. This is not going to be a breakdown and debunking every single point made by climate change deniers, or those that maybe aren't quite sure. This is a generalized view with generalized language. If you want to find out more about science behind climate change or more pointed debunks, check out H. Bomber Guy, Dr. Glibs, Professor Dave Explains, and I'm sure that Forrest Volkey. I'm sure that Forrest Volkey probably has one or two vids about it. This is a topic that has job security for a lot of people on a lot of sides. As long as one side keeps being dumb, popular science communicators will have things to correct about it.
Oh, I should also bring up Milo Rossi Mini Minute Man also has some good climate change talks, but he's also, I believe, an environmental. He subbed in environmental studies or something. Sorry, continue.
Today's topic is on climate change. And if you are from the Northeast, particularly central New York, where we're getting slammed with snow right now, and they're calling for another Arctic blast.
Arctic blast. My favorite flavor.
Arctic blast, where it's too cold to snow. So it's the only plus side about an Arctic blast.
Arctic blast, when you get snow days because it's too cold to snow.
That's because, I'm sorry, we cannot have school today. Why? Are the buses frozen? Well, yeah. First time we had that happen, it was in HP. It was one of the first Arctic blasts that they ever actually called for.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like evolution, or it's almost like environmental science has expanded over the last 50 years compared to what a lot of people who deny it say.
This is true. Oh, sorry. It's 1:30. Do you know where your spawns are?
Yes. One should be getting on a bus, and the other two are still doing whatever they do in school.
They should be productive members of society in their schools. Ezra is a possum player.
I would like you to restate the word possum because it sounded like you said possum.
Okay, I'm sorry. Possum.
P apostrophe. Awesome. Anywho.
I have to say, I'm actually, when, I was happy that Loki was also one there, so was Landon. So he has friends that are also considered leaders in their classroom, even though all three of them are in different classes. So it's really, to me, a good, thing that Ezra has a group that aren't just, following him. They're leaders in their groups.
Yes, Joseph Stalin also had a cult of personality.
So did Hitler. So did Marx.
By the way.
Oh, dear God.
I remember, I don't know what show we were doing.
Oh, dear God.
We couldn't remember the other guy from Russia.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not Gorbachev because he was there when the wall fell.
It wasn't Stalin. Oh my God, I literally... Khrushchev! It was fucking Khrushchev.
Oh,
That's who we forgot. That's who we were forgetting when we were talking about Russia rule.
He was the one in the 70s.
Yeah, right before Gorbachev.
So yeah. All right. You're right. I forgot about him. You were...
Sorry, you can edit that part out. That was just something for me to say, because I was like...
I don't remember what show we were doing either.
I don't either. It was just... I remember we were talking Russian leaders, and then I couldn't remember Khrushchev. We were missing like a good 15, 20 years.
Yeah, well, they want to get those 20 years back. Where was I?
Today's topic
is on climate change, formerly known as global warming, but they had to be changed because people were a bit dense, totally, and didn't realize it wasn't solely just about rising temperatures. And also known as the thing everyone has strong opinions about, regardless of whether they read literally anything about it. This is going to be a polarizing episode, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, this episode is not about politics, so if you feel like this is attacking you, we're sorry, but maybe introspection is warranted. This is not about shaming, even if AJ writes certain aspects of this in a way that may be construed as pointed. He's blunt, guys. He really doesn't come in, he comes in to make damage. That's all he does.
It's not that I'm blunt, it's that I'm pointed.
He goes in for the damage and kill, guys. I'm sorry. It's about debunking the most common myths and outright falsehoods surrounding climate change, and explaining what science actually says. Although we also try not to go too deep into the weeds with scientific language. Good.
That's because Sammy can't speak regular words.
Aunt Sammy cannot do shit with languages. Everybody,
Did you just call yourself Aunt Sammy?
Yes. Because I recently realized that when I talk in the third person because of the kids, it's usually Aunt Sammy says do this, Aunt Sammy says do that.
Daddy AJ says that's weird. Nope, never doing that again.
Let's myth it out. One of the most common claims goes something like this. Climate change is natural. The climate is always changing. And here's the thing. That's actually a true statement in a general sense. Climate change has changed many times over millions of years due to a hell of a lot of variables like what?
You said climate change has changed many times.
All right. Earth's climate has changed many times over millions of years due to a hell of a lot of variables like volcanic eruptions, solar cycles, asteroid impacts, and orbital shifts. Orbital shifts. But here's the part that usually gets left out. It's never been this fast. The current warming trend is happening at a rate far faster than natural processes can explain. And it all lines up with industrial release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. Natural change doesn't spike the global thermostat in a century. That's not geological. That's combustibles. But to piggyback on that, scientists study the natural stuff too. Is it increased solar activity? Nope. Output is fairly normal since we started testing it. Volcanoes. At the rate they blast, they do indeed have a short-term cooling effect, but then it evens out. As for annual output, volcanoes emit 1% of the CO2 humans do.
Cool, huh?
We're going to kill this country. We're going to end up killing
We already
this planet.
have, Sam.
We are killing this planet. And they wonder why it gets hotter and hotter. We are a virus. We are a parasite. It is trying to get rid of us.
No, it's not trying to get rid of us. We're fucking it up. This is not the Earth is heating because we fucked it up, or due to. Just continue reading.
Basically, to match humans, we need several supervolcanoes to go off at once, which could arguably lower carbon emissions since there'll be a decrease of people too. You know, due to all the death that happened, scientists are divided on climate change. They're not. Multiple studies show that vast majority, over 90% of climate...
over 95%.
Over 95% of climate scientists agreed on 3 key points. 1, the planet is warming. 2, human activity has become the primary cause. 3, the consequences are already happening. So, guys, if you listen to Al Gore back in the 90s, we did a lot of things to help the environment, which has shown that we are doing good things, which means we don't need to do it anymore, right?
No, because no one listened to Al Gore, except for the politicians who then passed laws and regulations that actually helped the planet, so we didn't get the polar ass cap melting.
But they are melting.
You know, maybe that might be brought up later on in this piece.
All right. Disagreements do indeed exist over details. How fast changes will occur, how severe impacts will be in specific regions. But that's how science works. A differing opinion leads to scientists seeing which is right, or even if there's a third option. Or to simplify it, doctors can disagree over treatments, but that doesn't mean they're unsure whether the disease exists. A personal favorite one that's been around since people cared about what Al Gore said: if global warming is real, why is it so cold? Because if you have something hot, the opposite swing is cold. That is what happens when you go from extreme hot and swing to extreme cold. You get fucked up.
That's not... Yes, what you said is true. We are swinging from extreme hots to extreme colds, but it is not because we're going to extreme hots, we're going to extreme colds.
The hotter it gets here in New York State, the colder it gets in New York State. Have you not seen the coordination for that?
Please listen to what I just said again. Just because we do hit extreme hots does not mean us hitting extreme hots is why we're hitting extreme colds.
I'm just seeing a correlation that the hotter our summers are, the colder our winters are. I am seeing
yes, the more we fuck up the government, the more... Sorry, Freudian slip there. Yes, the more we fuck up the climate, the more the climate changes.
I don't think
The extreme hots and the extreme colds are side effects of climate change. They are not one causing the other.
I believe that the climate is like a pendulum.
Cool. Science!
Science can believe whatever science wants to.
No. Science doesn't believe. Science has evidence. You going, I have a rock that defends me from tigers. How do I know? Have you seen a tiger here in central New York? Exactly. Would you like to buy this rock? It'll protect you from tigers.
Why are you spraying again?
Just fucking read the science.
To be blunt, because weather is not climate. Weather is what happens day to day. Climate is long-term patterns over decades. I have over 20 years in this state to say that we have had colder winters and warmer summers.
Yes, it is a proven fact that we have had record-breaking summers and record-breaking winters. But the record-breaking winters do not cause the record-breaking summers.
No, I believe that the record-breaking summers cause the record-breaking winters.
Well, that is not how that works.
Just saying.
I'm just telling you flat out. I'm glad we get to have this talk we're fucking talking about climate change myths. Yes, Sam. The climate is changing so that we have extreme heats and extreme colds. The extreme heats do not cause the extreme colds.
Whatever you say.
Don't Don't take my word for it. Look at a fucking book.
No.
Reading Rainbow, bitch.
Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice this high.
Yes, and you sound it.
I'm not even high right now. That's the sad part.
Keep reading.
You can still have snowstorms on a warming planet, just like you can have a cool day during a heat wave. Yeah, we call those rain days because it's so fucking humid. The rain just drops out of the sky. More to the point, climate change is more about extremes than just general warming. And yeah, the fact that the last several years has been the coldest winters and the hottest summers that have ever been recorded, and noted fundamentally anti-science propaganda networks like Fox News.
And has been noted by fundamentally anti-science. So even the people who are, climate change is not that big deal, it's not human issues, will also state, yes, it has been extreme.
I believe humans are the issue. Of course, all these are pocketed behind the biggest one. Climate change is a hoax and or a scam. Without going into the psychological aspects of thinking everything is fake or a scam, although most things are, speaking of, check out our Patreon. Here's the logical issue. Environmental and climate science involves thousands of researchers across dozens of countries over multiple generations using independently data sources.
I think I left out the word independently gathered data sources.
That would make
or
more
independent
sense.
Data sources.
Environmental and climate science involves thousands of researchers across dozens of countries over multiple generations using independently gathered data sources. For it to be a hoax, everyone from NASA to university labs to warring government to random oceanographers would have to be coordinated perfectly for decades. Actually, probably over a century.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how you want to look at where we are in science now. Because you have a lot of information that has been not lost, but proven inaccurate to certain extents. Not to mention you have things where it's like, actually, you know what? That's going to be covered in the next paragraph.
But that's not how humans work. We cannot even agree on email chains. We literally had to have a congressional hearing because senators did not understand that smartphones can be tracked. Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Are you telling me that my phone, if I walked across the room, it would know that you were able to see that I walked across the room? Yes, Senator, if you have your GPS turned on. Okay, but what if I had it in my pocket? Would you be able to know where I am? Yes, Senator, if you have your GPS turned on.
Why do people get elected? They're so fucking stupid.
Sam, the average age of a U.S. Senator right now is 65. They don't know what the hell... They don't know what the hell a CD is, let alone what an MP3 is.
Oh, well, no, they know a CD. It's the MP3 that might be more confusing for them.
Some.
Oh. All right, where was I? Smartphones can be tracked. The current head of the United States Department of Health didn't know that firing all cancer researchers would cut cancer research. Seriously, if there was profits to be made, the current U.S. government would be all about saving the planet instead of somehow they're trying to move back to coal and data centers that are actively ruining the environment. When a data center uses more water in a month than New York City uses in a year, there's a problem. And they are using fresh water. It's not even like they're using purified salt water or anything like that. No, they're using fresh water that we don't have a lot of because we've been fucking it up with pollution.
Yeah. Don't forget the amount of heat they put out, including all the electrical, that switching to coal would actually be worse for the AI infrastructure they want.
Our electrical infrastructure cannot handle that.
Our electrical infrastructure couldn't handle
They
a
cannot,
random relay in Canada being overworked.
and that had the great brownout of what was that, 2007?
No, that was much earlier.
I was working. Mom had her hysterectomy, so I was working at Harbor Freight and George's at that time. So it was 2005 to 2006. So over 20 years ago, yeah. Also worth noting, many early climate warnings came from oil companies' own scientists, who did indeed identify the problem before it became public, and then had to bury said research. Yes, the fact that we have a paper trail also shows the hoax is coming from inside the people who benefit from lack of regulation. And finally, the simplest and saddest myth. Nothing we can do about it. This is both false and dangerous. Even if we have reached the existential ennui as a species. Every fraction of a degree matters. Every reduction slows impacts. Every mitigation saves lives, ecosystems, and infrastructure. Climate change isn't an on-off switch. It's a dimmer switch, and we still hold the knob. But if we continue going to the right, we're going to have it where we're going to have a day after tomorrow. We're just going to end up having a massive fucking event that the entire world is going to have a total... I'm sorry. I'll be fine. There's actually a popular meme that goes around in right-wing circles about how every time the left pipes up about climate events, they don't happen. The best counter meme has been taking that and showing all the government work that has gone to mitigate these issues, leading them to not happening. Without a visual reminder, remember, when Al Gore was saying the polar ice caps are going to melt by 2012.
I didn't say ice caps. I said ass caps. Because that's how Al Gore said it. He never said polar ice caps, he said polar ass caps.
Okay. Without a visual reminder, remember, when Al Gore was saying the polar ass caps were going to melt by 2012 or something like that, and they didn't, well, unfortunately, they are still melting, but the melt did slow down thanks to the Paris Accords.
I believe it was the Paris Accords. It might have been another, G6 summit or something like that.
It had to be because, but I don't think it was the Paris Accords, only because that happened.
The Paris Accords are the climate one, right? It wasn't the Treaty of Paris is the one that was World War.
Yeah, it's the Treaty of Versailles.
Anywho, but yes, it's the Paris Accords that's the climate one. That our glorious leader, who's just an orange Kim Jong-un. No, that's not true. Kim Jong-un actually liked the arts.
Was a fan of Dennis Rodman too.
But there's actually a fun thing. Like I just said, I just watched Paper Will's fucking 5.5 hour video essay on all the media released by North Korea. Mostly just entertainment media, not there is no war in Ba Sing Se. But just the stuff, and it's actually really interesting. And actually, I didn't realize how much Kim Jong-un wanted. He actually wanted to open borders to a certain extent because he didn't like that North Korea was not known globally for their film industry. And then you look at North Korea's films up to that point, and you go, "Yeah, there's a reason for that, Punchy." Sorry, climate change.
Point is, it's never a nothing matters moment. Because the more time we have, the more we can survive. And if you don't want to survive, the
nihilism
is hard. It felt hard, so I get it. So just to sum it up, climate change is real. The current nature of climate change is driven by humanity. The core science is settled for the most part. And most of the arguments against it do fall apart under basic scrutiny. Questioning science is healthy. It is, and it's how science does what it does. Repeatedly debunking myths. It puts your faith into, gets paid to say these debunked myths is not. Of course, understanding the difference between what is the spirit of Mything 50 Minutes is all about. There's definitely a pipeline in believing pseudoscience to actively working against the interests of the people. And we like to stay on, and like we said at the top, there are far better videos of people debunking and explaining science of climate change than we do. From H. Bomber Guy debunking the talking points of the right-wing grifters to full examination of evidence from climate scientists like Dr. Glibbs, and just specific examples like Professor Dave Explains on Matt Ridley.
That was a lot of names, and you have no idea who any of the people you just said were.
Nope. Not
H. Bomber Guy actually probably has the most famous modern meme when it comes to climate change. When he was in his video called something on climate change, but he used Ben Shapiro's quote that, well, if sea levels rise, then people are just going to sell their homes. Hold on. And that led H. Bomber Guy to the best fucking quote on the planet. Sell their homes to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman! He's British.
Aquaman. Okay. Now, do I believe climate change is real? Yes. Do I believe that the extremes we are seeing they may not coordinate.
They corroborate that the climate's changing to the extremes, but they do not cause each other.
I think it does, but that's based on the fact that I picture the climate as a pendulum.
It is.
Where, as we go through the year, we go to the peak and then back to the peak. And that's what I'm noticing.
And that's actually not a bad way. Thank you. That's not a bad way to do it. The climate is the pendulum.
Yes.
Right? However, because we put the extreme over here, that does not mean that the talk, as in the tick-tock, the tick can be at the extreme here. The talk is not necessarily going to be at the extreme here. What human-caused climate change is us throwing the weight of the pendulum off so that the talk is the extreme, so is the tick. I don't want to say that you're wrong, okay, but does that make sense?
That does make sense.
It's the same as when you do the fun. Let's continue using pendulums. When you have a ball, you've seen I'm assuming you've seen it. Not those specifically, although technically yes, because it's the same basic momentum. Energy pushed through.
Right, and I believe one started back in the 1800s, and it's still going.
The one that went through, no, it doesn't stop. There are no perpetual motion machines. You will always have, on a pendulum, there will always be a loss of energy.
Right.
I just punched the mic. I'm sorry. There will always be a loss of energy. Okay? Now, that's why comparing it to a pendulum is kind of bad, because technically there is no loss of energy in the weather in that way.
Right, but you're taking it more literal.
Yes, but that's why I said that's me more talking to the people who are going to comment going, that's not how the weather works. It's a bad metaphor.
If you're going to comment, that means you listened. And that means that you spent the time, at least to this point, to hear what we are talking about. This is on you. You wasted the time. Do not get on our case about it.
That's a terrible thing to say. Okay? Communication is good.
All right, fine. If you've gotten this far, you should have been flaming AJ for writing in that stuff.
We're not. We're actually flaming you on your pendulum metaphor.
Anyway.
This is all on you.
Anyways, finish this up
we can go through. Point is like I said, actually using the pendulum in how you picture it in your head, that's not a horrible way to think about it. However, it's not, you're also making it like the pendulum doesn't have its own momentum.
Right, so now you're seeing... seeing how the people,
and everything we just talked about
the
is
people
why
are
the
skewing.
pendulum. It's why the pendulum swings to the extreme. Because we went to 114 degrees in the shade in summer. Now we're at negative 17. It is this happened and this happened because of what we did to the pendulum.
I can agree with that. However, I do not think negative 17 was the lowest we had.
It
the
wasn't.
Year we hit 104 in the middle of summer.
The point.
No, I'm just saying, if we're going to go with that extreme, when we hit 104, that was the year we hit negative 40.
104. We've hit 104 for several years.
Right.
Our top was like 120 something, wasn't it?
I have no idea anymore, but I know that 104 is when they start really.
But anyways, yes. We have hit much bigger extremes than that.
Yes, I'm just saying that we had just using that particular year as the example, we hit negative 24. We hit negative 40 in February. By August, we're at 104, and
yes, and we also had in that time, I believe, a Christmas that was 70 some odd degrees. It was green. It was lush. I believe I did yard work.
I believe we mowed the lawn that year.
But anywho.
Well, that was the year I wore my flip-flops until December 10th. Because as long as I was out in the sun, it was fine. But the minute you got into the shade, my toesies got cold.
Let's wrap this shit up.
All right, let's see. Thanks for missing 15 minutes with us. If you have your own comments, please talk to AJ. Leave them wherever you can. And if there's enough, we may do a follow-up that actually goes deeper in the details, like how people outright lie to get people to believe that climate is doing great. Like, share, do all the stuff that pleases the great algorithm. And
the algorithm.
The algorithm. Yeah, I didn't notice that until I started saying it. My brain went, hey. Mid-sentence. Sorry, guys. I'm Sam Rossi.
Don't forget to watch us on YouTube. We're doing our earlier shows. For Killing 15 Minutes, we are 130 episodes into the past. For Mything, we are like 20.
Something like that.
Mything really did come out a lot sooner, a lot more recent than my brain really maintains.
I know, it's because we've been doing Killing for so long that, I was like, wow, randomly was only 30 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I swear we
at
did
the same
more.
time, at the same time, it feels like you guys did like 10 episodes of that.
Right, but we only did 3 recording sessions, 10 episodes each.
Oh, that's fair. That would explain why Megan kept sounding much. You could see her cute as a button and amazing in the first part, and then slowly going down, tumbling down, so down.
I let her pick how many we recorded. Anyways. Later, y'all.
I'm AJ Carey.
You said that already.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
We finished the great algorithm. You didn't even say I'm Sam Rossi.
Yeah, I did.
Missing 15.
Keep on carrying on.
C-A-R-E-Y.
Right.
Because
Carry On Production.